All right, let's get right into audience questions. Some really good ones this week. First question, isolationism versus non-interventionism. This is a good topic. Hey, David, I hear lots of talk when people discuss Trump's tariffs about isolationism. Is this the same as non-interventionism? It is not. And this is a really, really important distinction. I am a non-interventionist when it comes to the United States using the military or using other means to meddle in other countries, whether it comes to being the world's policeman when there is not actually a coalition, for example, that has decided this is something that the world is going to take on, and it's abundantly clear that that's what should be done. I am against the United States meddling in the elections of other countries or in regime change in other countries. But I am not an isolationist because I see isolationism as a much further step, which is not only do we not get involved militarily for the defense of a third country, not only do we not do all of the things that a non-interventionist would avoid doing, but isolationists can also want to be isolationist on trade. Now, I believe in specialization. I believe that given the drastically unequal distribution of resources throughout the world, which includes both resources of all kinds. I mean, plant and animal resources. If you read Jared Diamond's book, Guns, Germs, and Steel, he outlines how it is not by chance that some parts of the world became more successful and earlier than others. It is significantly related to the flora and fauna that either did or didn't allow the creation of agriculture, which developed food surpluses, which allowed specialists to start developing technology and culture and politics and governmental type organizations, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not an isolationist when it comes to trade. I also am not an isolationist when it comes to dealing with refugee issues around the world, dealing with climate change. If you are a pure and true isolationist, you feel no responsibility to even consider doing anything about refugee crises in other places in the world. As a non-interventionist, you might choose not to get involved militarily in what may be taking place in some other countries. But when what those circumstances do is generate refugees, as a non-isolationist but non-interventionist, you can say, here's how my country is going to get involved in helping refugees, for example. Isolationism can also lead to very extreme immigration policies, for example, which I don't favor. So there are some really important differences between being an isolationist and a non-interventionist. I consider myself a non-interventionist who sees military action as the absolute last resort to be used only in very particular circumstances. But I am the last thing from an isolationist. And then lastly, I mentioned climate change. Right now, the pollution, climate change disaster that we are dealing with goes completely beyond country borders. And isolationism is also a way to, in a sense, bury our heads in the sand, if it wants to be used this way, and say, we're worried about our country. We don't care about pollution going elsewhere, even though we have to deal with pollution coming here from other countries because pollution doesn't respect country lines. So I think isolationism is an absolute disaster. I think non-interventionism is very much in line with the social democracy philosophy that I sort of by and large subscribe to. Let me know if I'm missing anything or if I'm getting anything wrong, or if you simply disagree with my conclusions.